think we are.
Hello, and welcome back
Hello.
to the University All-Stars League. It has been a fun game one of this first round, but we are going to be heading to the second one with Lockdown Ludens going up against
Maybe they provide some kind of answer. A Luden appears to be a tortoise with a cannon on its back, and an Ophis is some sort of snake thing.
I think they might not be related to the name.
Maybe not. Yeah, possibly not.
Whatever. Looking at these teams, though, I'm really excited for this because just as much as I knew the players in the last game, I don't really know these players that much. I think there's one main name that I really recognize, and that is Restricted D, a good friend of mine from the Sunderland team, who is on the same university team as Scotland from our last game. He's a good friend of mine. I recognize him, but that's it. The rest of this roster that we're seeing, that's different for me. So I'm looking at Lockdown Ludens, and that looks quite nice.
I'm gonna have to just say that my support again. You got to be a biased caster in the last match, so I think I'm gonna just on the fly here become a biased caster for Lockdown Ludens, just for the fact that a couple of them are from Edge Hill, and despite being a Birmingham University boy myself, I feel as though there's at least some sort of connection there from a West Midlands, a Birmingham centric point of view. So there are a couple of players of Lockdown Ludens that I'm going to be giving my support towards, and that's just my 2 cents. But I mean, now they've got to deliver. Now I really have to. I don't want them to show me up on the stream and get torn apart, of course, because we have really no sort of expectations going into this. Again, this is the joy of a new league with these sort of newly formed teams, and even fewer kind of ideas about what these players are going to be doing. But as you can see, we've got our map bans ready to go. They should be appearing on the screen very shortly, and we can talk you through exactly how those panned out. So Lockdown Ludens were the first to ban. They took Cafe off the board, so immediately we've got a new map. That's exciting, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot wait to see some fresh locations here. Coastline is going to be the next one off the board there from Ophis. Consulate and Theme Park come to the chopping block there. And then the last 3 we get to choose from are Oregon, Villa, and Clubhouse. These are the 3 really interesting ones that we get to see how they really want to decide how it goes down. And Oregon being banned out by Lockdown Ludens, and then Villa being banned out, effectively Ophis choosing to go to Clubhouse here. Lockdown Ludens choose the defense first, as you might expect. And yeah, Clubhouse. I mean, it's again a fairly standard map, one that we get to see played out fairly often in this sort of scene around the tier 4 sort of amateur uni level. And it's well practiced, well known, and just it's going to be a good representation of which is the better side right here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going into it because, like I said, I can't give that behind the scenes information. I can't say much about these teams because I don't know these players. I recognize a name or 2 from when I've played my games, but that's not really enough to go off.
It's strange. It's almost scary as casters going in blind like this, but it's great because we just get to focus on exactly what's in front of us and say, you know what, this team does this well, this team does this well, and begin to sort of understand their play styles, paint these stories, and come to love and then love these teams eventually. So yeah, I'm excited. We're still waiting for one player to join the lobby. So I don't know what you want to talk about. Maybe something to talk about is just how we expect Clubhouse to go, just as a little kind of introduction perhaps to people maybe new to the scene. Perhaps we've got some people that are joining us in the stream that have never watched like sort of competitive Siege before. They're watching their mate who said, hey, I'm going to be competing in this league today, and maybe you can watch me. They've got a housemate watching or something. So yeah, just like talking through Clubhouse a little bit, saying how we expect it to sort of pan out.
Okay, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm making a ban prediction, and I'm saying Thatcher, Maverick, Cade, and then I'm not sure on the last one because it's a defender ban. It's a starting defender ban, so Ludens are going to have that last ban. But Thatcher, Maverick, Cade. That's how I see the first three bans going. Maybe a Maestro, because then you can stop that plant denial, and you have to force the other team to prepare a post-plant scenario as well. That's what I'd like to see.
So
That's what I hope to see. But
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go a little bit more left field with my ban prediction for the attackers, just because it will be more rewarding if it happens. I'm gonna say Thatcher and Monty for the bans on the attackers. He sometimes sees his way through in ban phases on Clubhouse because he can be so great at clearing out um, the top floor. If you're going for a full roam clear, he can be incredible at taking control of garage if you're pushing cash. And the defenders don't have any sort of answer for it, like goo mines or zappy evil eyes. And yeah, I think while it's one quite often a bit reserved for, say, a counter ban, I feel like some teams see it as a comfort not to have to face down a shield on their defenses. So we might see that come through. And then my defense predictions, I'm going to say Mirror Kaid. I think Mirror won't make it through. And Kaid is a very good ban all round. I agree with you on that one. Thatcher and Kaid, I think we both expect to be banned here.
Yeah, because it's just there's places that you can just get Cade claws that are really difficult to clear out. For example, when you look at CC, you've got top red. You can put it in that little corner of the door by red stairs at the top. The door into CC. Get it
just
up
above,
there. It
just
can't
above
be
the drone hole, right? Yeah.
Only thing that can take it out is a Thatcher, and that will only disable it. So you need to be very quick. And what we want to see is teams not really needing to worry about the fact that Thatcher disables for a short time, because they'll be coordinated enough to get that wall open immediately. But I feel like, Cade, there's just so many sites which he is essential if he's on the ball to bring, because it shuts down hatches on the bottom floor. It's just down jacuzzi when you go to James' bedroom, and you can bunker in cash even harder if that is your strat for the gym bedroom site. I feel like Cade is one of those must picks for the defenders, but a must ban for the attackers. And I think when it comes to the Maverick ban, I feel like just the Maverick trick. Too many teams are competent and experienced in doing it. It's something you need to get rid of.
Yeah, it's definitely just it changes the way you play a map if the Maverick makes it through. He's just got a way of completely bypassing any sort of breach denial utility. That's the way I think is the simple way, and the way I like to look at it basically is that no matter what you bring in terms of breach denial, be it a mute, be it a Kaid, be it a bandit, even impact tricking, Maverick is not susceptible to that. He can just keep on using his blowtorch all day long, and it's slow. It's sometimes risky. Sometimes you get punished for it, especially, for instance, if you're trying to open like kitchen hatch with a Maverick. You rarely see that happen because there's so much soft floor around it, and you're likely to get shot through it. But most other key breaches on this map, a Maverick will just sort of tear it open like butter. And I mean, there's very little you could do. So that's why I feel like he's a key ban, in agreement with you, McCready, because it removes so many options for the defense.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just something. It's just the meta that we've seen evolve. Because I'm sure you remember, Jerry, before the Mav trick was discovered, it was Thatcher, maybe a Capital to stop a bandit trick, and it was very much revolving around the bandit trick. But then the Mav trick came in, and that just kind of escaped. You just see the Cade coming in a lot more, getting a lot more prevalence. Just players, they won't even try and Thatcher. They won't try and shut down a Maverick trick in the typical sense of just outwitting the defender. Now we'll just see a player go below. As a Fear and Ash, breaching charge it, impact nade it, whatever. Shut down that player, get the wall open. So I think at this point, a lot of teams need to prepare for the CCTV side. That wall is going to get open, and there are too many options to ban away safely and shut down any chance that they have. And I think we're going to see that wall get open. We're going to see kills come out in rounds to find over whether the defenders are able to stop that wall being opened, or if the attackers get it, or if they flank. Because I'm quite a big fan of that stock roof, cash floor. That's all soft. And if you could get a buck in there, which I don't see a lot of too many teams do, if they can get that, I can see a lot of potential for an attack around win. But we are having to wait quite a bit of time, as you might have noticed.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. We're still having some connection issues amongst the team. There was a brief moment where we had all 10 players in the lobby, but then someone
Yeah.
dropped. So it was just heart-wrenching to see. But yeah, you mentioned the kind of buck play from beneath. I feel that most of the time teams have enough tools at their disposal to not feel they have to run the buck. Usually that role falls on the hands of the Ash or the Zofia or even the Maverick or the Sledge just with their frag grenades to try and go at the floor in a more immediate way, just get that burst kill with absolutely no warning. And so, yeah, lounge and stock protection is quite often factored into a team's defense. But like we said, these are new teams. They might still be figuring out their kind of preferred holes, preferred play styles, and working out which sort of strats they want to emulate from higher tiers. But we are finally ready to hop into the game, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for bearing with us during that sort of extended introduction we have now finally got our match underway. Lockdown Ludens versus Ophis. This is, again, Badass University All-Stars, the first round of the knockouts, and we've got a game on our hands. Our ban predictions, are they going to be accurate or not, McCready? Let's see. Well, first off is Thatcher, so we're 1 for 1. That's good.
Yeah,
now, I want to see the Monty, and you want to see the Maverick. That's that's the rivalry right here.
This is where it gets interesting because, like you said, there's a lot of merit to the idea of the Monty ban, but the Maverick, I think that's where it's going to go.
We should have placed a bet on this. We should have made this interesting. They're really taking their time thinking this one through, though. They don't have a stock ban, it would seem. And there we go, finally selecting it. Let's see who it's going to be. Will I be victorious? I will be! Oh, I absolutely called it.
Oh.
Monty going through there, getting banned out. And Maverick will be in place. So, like we said, that breaching just got a whole lot easier for the defense. Let's see if I can make it 3 for 3. Come on, Mirror. Or Kaid.
All
right, there's the Kaid.
It's all right.
So
I've got 2, you've got 3. Can you get them all down?
This is the best game. I might just leave after this if I win. What? Okay.
Ooh.
Lockdown Ludens heard us playing the game and decided that they wanted to throw a real wild card in there. Mozzie coming out. That's 2 C4 operators gone, interestingly. But, I mean, that's a very strange ban. Either that's just a comfort one or a target ban. It doesn't really affect too much. I suppose he's a staple of the SSG style hold, but I'd be surprised if either team are going to be coordinated enough at this point to try and pull that one off. It's looking like they're starting on cash defense. I'm really intrigued by that Mozzie ban.
I feel like that's just saying, okay, we don't want to worry about drones. Oh, we don't want our drones on our attack to get taken away. We don't have to worry about a Mozzie, but then the immediate thought is a mute. What are you going to do if the defenders...
Yeah, what do you do about the mute?
I feel like Mozzie, you take away a C4, you take away the P10 Roni or the Commando 9, depending on what you pick. Both very good guns in their own right. And I feel like, yeah, you allow yourself to drone a lot more on your attack, but you've still got to play 6 rounds on your defense, Ludens. So I'm a little confused as well as that. But we are going to be looking at how this round plays out regardless. We're seeing very nice drone protection from Ophis. They haven't been spotted. They've got all their drones up as far as I can see. Yeah, all their drones are there.
Yeah, that's
Ludens,
good.
A typical setup. They got that bandit, so realistically, I can see Dicta. He's going to be going in stock. He's going to be getting that floor open. If that's what they decide to do, like we saw Maverick still on the board, he can get that Maverick. He can get these lines of sight. And then Ophis, they can very quickly just rotate to that bedroom area, start putting pressure on, and start getting kills.
Clearly, it's on their agenda to be clearing out that middle floor as well. They've got so many drones stationed there that they don't want to be surprised from beneath, and perhaps they even want to be surprising Lockdown Ludens. Ludens. There we go. Lockdown Ludens from beneath instead. They've definitely got the tools to be doing it. They've got the frag grenades in the hands of Brink Boss, and also worth noting, they've brought triple hard breach right here. Belt, braces, and, well, another belt, it would seem, with Maverick, Hibana, and Ace being picked here. Going for the kind of... I think they're trying the sort of improved Maverick trick there, where you just need to take out the middle and the top of the bottom of the top, but it hasn't worked. Proctor's going to get the first frag of the round onto Banshee, taking out the Ash, but is immediately put down. And he's actually in a safe position right now, but very unlikely to be res. So that's almost really an effective 4v4 now.
I mean, a safe position is a very strong word, which I wouldn't realistically use, because you see, Habana, HJ, he's just opened up that garage. He can now get a line of sight onto that rotation. He can spot if Proctor tries to go through it. He can spot if someone tries to go through there, which I don't think they will, because you'll have the attackers covering the breach. And Gady, he's able to get a kill. The C4 has to be shot, unfortunately, because it won't be able to find the kill. But a frag grenade coming out from Brig Boss will find Proctor. HJ gets a kill of his own, bringing us down to a 3v3. But Gady with the flank, that can be huge, and he could catch Brig Boss off guard here. Doesn't look like he will, but the smoke on stairs will get damaged a little bit. Gady getting that kill in the end.
Yeah, that's a big kill right there. Basically taking out the flank hold on the flank as HJ takes down low-key Benji, and now the plant can begin to be stuck. There's only one toxic gas canister, and the smoke has been felled now by Army Alf. Now we're in a 1 versus 2. Gady has to put it all out right here. He's been on fire so far. 2 kills to his name. Can he get the quad and the defuse? It's going to be a lot to ask of him. He knows where 1 is, but Army Alf just swings better, and Gady falls. A great opening round from Ophis as they take that cash attack with a plant to boot, and, well, they're looking dominant right now. I mean, it's only 1 round in, but that was solid.
Yeah, I feel like Proctor, the way he played that Jaeger in the garage, I feel like it caught Banshee off guard, yes, and you got the Ash, but then you tried to go up rafters again. And at that point, you're seeing that main wall get open. You're seeing Habana covering that garage wall after opening it a little bit. I feel like going down with Gady. Go down into Oil Pit. Go for the long rotate, because that rafters, that is a place that even without that aggressive Roma, that is a hotly contested area for attackers. They need to keep an eye on it, and they will never not be checking it, in my experience. So go for the drop, go for the late roam. At least bring Gady back into a 2v2, or 3v2, rather than the 1v2 he was in when the plant went down. So I feel like there are adjustments that need to be made, and I'm hoping that the Ludens are able to do it.
There was also a very singularly directed push from Ophis, and it's rare that you see that sort of thing work, because usually you need some sort of pressure to make the defenders kind of a little bit more unsettled, make sure they're not all pointing their guns in the same direction and that they haven't got their back safely against the wall. But Ophis just, they took those opportunities when they came to them, and they made them for themselves as well. Taking down the Jaeger, especially early on rafters, was a massive deal for them, because that entire push relied upon that pick. And I think that as long as Proctor plays perhaps a little bit more passively in this situation, Ophis will struggle, because they won't have any other option but to try a different approach. That being said, Proctor looks like he's actually doing the exact opposite and playing fairly aggressively at the bottom of these garage stairs.
Yeah, he's playing it yet again, that door being open just a little bit, looking for that peak. But remember, 30 seconds on the clock. If nobody's coming to your spawn peak angle, probably not that. But she's realized. He pulls back, takes a little bit more of that door, takes it out so that the attackers have to pay attention to it. But Army Alfie's getting that crossfire set up. Dicta takes some damage, but so does Proctor. Nobody will go down just yet. But Proctor, he's still got those early assets. He's still playing on those rafters. And with the Mavs setting up a line of sight, they have potential to take him out. But Gady, he's going to be the first to fall to HJ.
And a good pick that is as well. Onto the high impact player that is the Valk that last round. Now it's going to be up to someone else, or, well, the rest of Lockdown Ludens to step it up. Brink Boss is still having trouble getting this Maverick trick to work effectively. And once you've already opened that line, it becomes especially risky to try and find that one spot that you may have missed out. But it looks like he has done it in the end, and finally Call Me Dicta will open up that lovely round sightline. HJ, again, getting the pick onto Proctor, this time the sledge finding him, and we've got ourselves a 5 versus 3, definitely attacker favored right now, as they still have 90 seconds to work with it.
Yeah, very lucky HJ able to win his gunfights there. The solo diffuser push, probably for this exact reason. The smoke canister is going out on the breach. KK, he's going to find HJ, and he's going to take out that sledge. But Brink Boss coming in support. He's heading towards that rafters area. He's going to be able to pick it up and take that gunfight and get that crossfire, which Ophis need. Loki Benji will find a kill onto Banshee, and Benji gets another with the C4. Now it's down to a 2v3.
Make that a 3 versus 1 now, as Lockdown Ludens have swung powerfully in response to the early jab that Ophis gave them, and now it's all on Brink Boss. He's on the brink of death as well with about 20 HP. He can collect that diffuser, but the Goo Mine goes out, revealing the location of KK, but this is a situation we've seen many times before. He will spot and read into the flank of Loki Benji, but Benji just hits the head far quicker, and a solid 3k on the round from the Bandit, pulling it back from a very disadvantageous situation. And Ophis are now, well, they're tied back up at 1-1.
I think that was a really good defense round from them, and I think that was in the first round there was a lot of potential there, but a lot of misplay, and that's something that the Ludens definitely tightened up in their second round. You had Proctor, he did pull back to that rafters, but he didn't do it after getting an immediate kill. He didn't get it after the pressure from the attackers was being placed down. He fell, yes, but much later in the round when the attackers had to be making these plays. He was closer towards that site, so a refrag could come out. The position of him, HJ, an incredible push towards that rafters area, but he came into KK and the absolute brick wall of that Legion player, supported by Benji on the Bandit, for able to find a couple of kills of his own. It was definitely going the way of Ophis, but it just wasn't meant to be. And now we'll be heading to that bottom floor. Maverick on the board, no cave. So I feel like the Roamers, they're going to have to put a lot of early on pressure here to shut down these Maverick and disrupt Ophis's attempt at pushing.
They are, and I feel like Lockdown Ludens have really, with their ban phase, they've utterly disabled a lot of the ways that you might want to play this basement, because they were given the Kaid ban by Ophis, and then they responded with a Mozzie ban. So your turtle strat is weakened, your roam strat is weakened. How do you decide to hold this? I mean, obviously it just goes down to slightly alternative operator selection, and maybe Mozzie wasn't always going to factor into that style of roam defense, but he is, you know, sometimes a key part of it. More often than not, we see a Vigil is the kind of the sole roamer of choice. If they just have one person roaming, it will be that. But, you know, if you double up, you're going to have a castle, you're going to have a Mozzie, and you know, that piece of the puzzle missing. Brink Boss will take down Katie, and, well, your sort of default roamer in this lineup of the Valkyrie is now gone, and Proctor's looking to try and refrag it, but I don't think he's actually in the... He's just a little bit slow to react to the opportunity to him, but at least he's still alive.
I think he's going to wait. He will be droned out, though, by Brink Boss, who will be looking for that early on aggression, early on kill, but cannot get it. Proctor saying, I'm just going to pull back. There's no real advantage. We're just gonna leave it. We're just gonna let you take that map control and keep that player, keep that C4 alive for that late round. And now we're seeing this kitchen. It's completely gonna be ripped up by Ophis, but exposing himself to C4 and impact trick, not horrible, but dirt is open actually. That was something we and Ophis have just noticed. So I can expect to see the push go down there, and no impact trick will actually come out from Ludens.
No, and I suppose it makes some amount of sense with so many hard breaches on the board making their way through the ban phase and no way of really denying that wall. You save yourself a couple of reinforcements and a bit of time in prep by not reinforcing dirt, so maybe that was just a decision they made. But Army Alf is going to, well, increase the advantage that Ophis have gotten themselves in this early round, taking out Proctor, and that's all your C4's gone all of a sudden, so very little explosive capability now left on the side of Lockdown Ludens, and we've seen this before, but Banshee will make sure that they don't have a comeback quite as easy as last time and take down Loki Benji as well. We're left in a 2 versus 5 with still over a minute remaining. This is surely a round in the hand of Ophis right now.
Yeah, utility will be taken out. The Maestro Cameron, namely one of them, but the double peak coming out from Ophis will be able to take out KK, and the push is no doubt in full swing right now. The kitchen player, the dirt player, they're both in position. The push is coming out to put pressure on Giobu. Yet to do anything other than die so far, but the Maestro, you can't expect it. He's able to find one, though. Looks for a second one, but just can't land the shots. And Brink Boss shuts him out, and that is the round. And it turns out he did actually down that Ash, but as you're about to see, wasn't able to find the Maverick.
No, just the doppelganger right there, blending into one almost, and a good and important refrag effectively in that situation. Because I mean, I know it was a 1v5, but you can never write off the Alder in that situation. Jobu did give his all, and I mean, it was a tough one. Let's be fair. That was a near flawless round right there from Ophis. They've pushed themselves up around yet again, taking the lead, and that was a clean church execute. But honestly, it was on the back of Lockdown Ludens offering themselves up a little bit too early on with their roam game. That's the second time in a row that we've seen Gady go down as the opening death, and I think he just needs to maybe slow down a little bit, give a bit more respect to Ophis, because they're clearly doing their due diligence when it comes to roam clearing, and just turn it up a gear. I'm not saying he shouldn't roam. I'm saying that he should just be a bit more careful about it and maybe a little bit more passive as well.
Yeah, I feel that early aggression I talked about, yes, you can be aggressive by peeking and going for the gunfights, but you can also be aggressive with your positioning. I feel like the top floor holder's better for Gady. If you wait there, you come down with Proctor, you come down and try and get them when they're ripping up in the slot and getting ready for the push. That's when you get the kills. That's when you get the advantages. That's when you get the round-winning moments that you love to see. And unfortunately, it just didn't happen with that one simple gunfight. Proctor had to adjust how he played, pulls back to site, and it kind of felt for Ophis like it was fish in a barrel. They had that man advantage early on. They double peaked, they triple peaked. Ludens just dropped like flies.
That they did, and they'll be hoping to survive a little bit longer, because again, it's not just the sole aim of a roamer to get those early frags. You want to be surviving as long as possible, especially on a site like this. It pays dividends if you force the attackers to have to execute with only 30 or 20 seconds left. Time has not been even slightly an issue for Ophis so far, and that's partially down to Lockdown Ludens' aggressive approach that hasn't paid off just yet. But I mean, we saw it work one round, so maybe it will another. It's just a case of actually winning those initial gunfights. If they're going to play it aggro, if they're going to play it very like immediate, going for the quick picks when the attackers don't have that intel. In fact, we have 3 roamers right now on the defense, just the 2 anchors. The drone will come through and spot the Jaeger, but he does win the fight against Dicta. So finally, something going Lockdown Ludens' way early on, and he's going to just hide in this corner, waiting for the engagement to come to him now. Does a lot of damage to Brink Boss on that swing as well. He's expecting the refrag, and it does come through from HJ, who's got that long angle all the way from stock, opened up by the sledge, and a nice refrag delayed. But Proctor again finds a reply as he's striking from above, and now decides to fall back. Excellent pick there. The Ash and the Zafir, both gone, are massive picks in this meta when you have a Jaeger especially to deal with on site.
Yes, and ABS, taking a little bit of damage. Not too much, but taking a little bit. I feel like Benji, the positioning there was good. Yes, you got that first kill, but it wasn't great. You were then stuck. You could pull back to Strip Club, but there is nowhere else to go from there. You can't pull back to site. You can't pull back to your team. At the end of the day, though, two for one, not a bad trade. Now you've got Brink Boss. He's very uncomfortable, waiting for more roamers before he does go for this Maverick on the hatches.
The issue is that Proctor's made his way back to site, and I don't think that they're being very tentative because they don't know the exact location of Proctor. They think he could even be above as far as they're concerned. Maybe they have the drone info, but either way, there was a long period of time there where Brink Boss was just holding an angle and waiting for the roam to come to him. But like I said, that's the early round advantage they want, and now they have 4 anchors against 3 attacking executors. So this hole being opened up could be key for a quick execute for Ophis. They don't have any smokes in hand, and that might be a little bit brave going for that without being able to cut off some angles. But I mean, and they have the Evil Eye to deal with, but they've got frags, so entirely possible that they go for a very quick push down main. They have done exactly that, and HJ will claim one on his way in, but KK responds, and Army Alf now holding Diffuser manages to get to default spot, but he's again swept down by KK, who claims a triple on the round. Exceptional stuff from the Legion, hitting 3 headshots in a row to shut down that main push from Ophis. And again, we're tied back up 2-2.
Yes, but one has to feel that Ophis, they're really, really well. They're playing this well at the moment. They can go for that 3-3 split. I believe that they can pick up another round. What we've seen coming out from Ludens is they've played around, they've played a defense, they've made a mistake, and they've lost the round. And then they adjust it in the next one. So I can see very easily as we return back to CCTV, I can see Ophis picking this up again because they just need to adjust because I feel like the Ludens defensive style is very much, we'll see what they do, we'll react. All Ophis have to do is change up a few little things, change up how they approach, maybe go for a master bedroom push. I feel like Ludens shouldn't be relying on KK to make these huge plays if they want to win the round, because we've seen quite a few times these 1vx scenarios. It's not a good sign, especially on your defense on a map like Club. If your attackers, they're taking the rounds before you, you need to, and then you have to answer them.
Nervous pause, HJ lets us know he's just waiting to load in. Here we go. Now, Cash, exactly where I expected to go. After a couple of rounds down in the basement, we're back up at all reliable. And what's interesting to note about the round that Lockdown Ludens won on Cash, it came down to a 3 versus 5 with 90 seconds remaining for the attackers. And it was basically Benji getting a massive double kill downstairs and then, well, seeing it out, eventually he got a 3k, but not being refragged, being able to land a C4 and then swing on someone in around that lounge area that basically pulled it back for Lockdown Ludens. And you can't be relying on these stellar moments to hold it. So I'm not entirely convinced by their lockdown here. Gady died twice in a row early on, and I feel like he needs to again be sort of more passive. We saw signs of that improved discipline in that last round, which was great to see. He survived much longer than he previously had, and eventually we got left in a 4 versus 3 for the defense. So just, yeah, the early round is proving very pivotal, and if it doesn't, then it's going to be on the solo plays coming out from players like Loki, Benji, who have shown us they have potential to sort of just swing the tide of a round.
Yeah, we're seeing Ophis, though, as we do head into this round, we're seeing them very quickly get these positions, which it might, in that first round, it took them a while to get, thanks to Proctor playing very aggressive in Garage. But he's learned his lesson. He has now got a huge impact at the round, able to tag up Brink Boss enough to make him worry. This man's got to angle it very carefully if he does want to finish this off. He will not be able to get it. He just has to do it a little more. And with the bandit charges, it's a dangerous game with his HP and with the angle Proctor can hold. But Heizo with the Capital, he's playing that CC window. He can get the flames. He can shut down a bandit trick. He can shut down realistically anyone trying to put pressure on him with a wide swing. But Loki Benji will be the first to find that kill. Army Out watching that rotate. But Proctor, he doesn't have to leave. Benji, he's got that C4 in hand. It looks like he is going to be going for a clippable moment, looking to open up. The C4 comes out, gets Brink Boss, and that wall is stuck. They need Habana to open it up. They need something now. And Proctor will be the one to deliver. Team killing Benji for no reason.
I think it was just an instinctive shot. He must have not realized that Benji was playing down there. So that's a really unfortunate moment.
I think we'll call that a love tap.
Yeah, let's call it a love tap. Army Alpha has decided that he just is going to, well, try and make things work for himself by opening up that wall. And unfortunately, I have a frozen clean feed right now. So
I do as well.
That's such a shame. We've got a bit of a pinch coming through. That's really a shame. A game crash on our observer's end. So, well, the game will continue for the players, which is the good thing. That's not the end of the round for them. They still get to have their, good, fair contest going on, and we'll hopefully get to hop back in for the beginning of the next round, if not sort of halfway through it. But we'll see how that round does pan out. The scoreline was 2-2 just before it, and it was looking as though Ludens were kind of holding on just before that team kill came through and began to kind of sow some doubts.
Yeah, I feel like Benji being able to get that kill onto Brink Boss was absolutely huge because, yet again, that was the Maverick and very low HP. That meant that it wasn't that difficult of a kill. He didn't have to land a perfect. He didn't have to land a perfect C4. He was able to get the Maverick, able to catch him off the board. Then they had to bring the Habana around, and at that point, the team kill came out. I feel like the amount of time it wasted by getting that kill really lent itself to the Ludens, like you said. And while you have Heizo watching that CC wall, he can flame off anyone trying to bandit trick. With the Maverick there's not going to be anyone. You have to cover the rotate. You have to try and catch Proctor on his way back. But as I said, nobody was pushing him out. He could hold that rafters very comfortably and pick up a kill of his own onto his teammates. So I feel like the round was definitely going in favor of Ludens, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them being able to pick up the first round to put them in the lead. We've seen this game.
Yeah, they've been playing catch up for the whole match so far, and that was definitely going in their favor. The early pick onto Banshee, especially, was pretty big, and yeah, like you said, securing the kill onto the Maverick before he was able to properly finish that breach, it just didn't bode well at all for the attacking side of Ophis. It's a shame when stuff like that happens because it's like tiny, minute details like that in Siege that can turn around. And I mean, that's why we love it. It's such a game of just tiny moments and little details. But yeah, I think that, well, the round probably should have ended by now. So by the time we get back into the match, we'll know for certain exactly how it is. Oh, we've actually got an update. It is 3-2 to Ophis. So they did somehow take that attacking round, and it's a shame we didn't get to see it, but that's quite something. Clearly, maybe the Capitale had something to do with it. They did switch to the Capitale for that round, and maybe they had a kind of a set execute in their minds, or understand the setup that's coming through from the defenders and land those fire bolts effectively. But where we left it, we still saw a player on rafters, and I think that like that must have been dealt with for that to go through.
Yeah. I feel like they had to get that breach open because just before we crashed, they did bring the Habana around. They did have the player behind looking to shut down any attempt to try and deny that. So I feel like Proctor must have been caught on the rotate back. I think that's where it must have come through. Then the rafters controlled. You can get a play around there, use their rotates. You have the CC player. He switches to construction to cover that rotate, to cover a flank. I feel like there was a lot of potential either way, but I saw it going Ludens, so I'm quite happy to see Ophis take it. But we are struggling to get back in the lobby at the moment, so we might take a very short break and then come back as soon as we get back into the game. So we can't say how long it's going to be shortly, unfortunately, but it will be short. All-Stars Play Day 1 with Lockdown Ludens going up against Ophis. After that round, where we unfortunately somehow Proctor managed to TK both Benji and us, our observer, we have returned back to the game. Ophis were able to pick up that round, and we are going to go to the last round of this half. A 3-3 split, at least guaranteed for Ophis right now. And I think on Clubhouse, that really gives them a lot of momentum heading into defense, because when you see teams really excel on one side, it says a lot of good things about them. And heading into defense with new teams, I think they're just only going to get better as we continue.
That Ophis have shown that they're adaptable. They know they're likely to be heading to cash again, and yet they've changed their lineup from previously. Instead of the triple hard breach that they went with for the first round, they've switched it up slightly, deciding that they want, well, probably one of the most staple lineups you can imagine right here, but definitely bringing the Sledge, Ash, Sophia, so much utility, so much explosive utility, and soft breach that you really, nothing will be in your way. No wall is safe, hard or soft, with this lineup, and no utility either. Plenty of flashbangs to burn out ADSs and discs if they were being brought, which is an interesting thing to note, that Lockdown Ludens have not brought them on my once. It would seem just sort of not in their preferred operators. Instead, KK has been consistently running this Legion, and I mean, he's been fairly effective on it. We saw him get a lovely triple kill at the end of their church defense, but besides that, I'm not entirely certain that these goo mines would be as effective at stemming the tide of Ophis' attacks as, you know, the extra couple of magnets would.
I feel like Lockdown Ludens, they need to just stick with what has worked so far, and that's been Proctor. He's played that Rafters, he's played it. This is what I'm talking about with aggressive positioning and aggressive play. He's not going for the kills like we saw in the first round. Yes, he got one, but almost immediately refragged. But where he is a very aggressive place, because the attackers, they know that he's going to be there. They know he's there. The pressure is on. And that's arguably more important at the moment. But Meowth is going to try and take that gunfight against that Jaeger. Nobody will land their shots. Nobody will be going down. But it's a nice start. You know the round's going to be full of action so far. But now what I want to see is Proctor have the exact same amount of success shutting down this Mav trick, which he will not be able to do. The wall will be successfully opened by both the Maverick and Sophia, something we didn't see in the last round on the Ludens' last attempt to defend this round.
Yeah, Brinkboss nails it there, and he also nails ahead of Proctor, peeking through that freshly made hole. Lovely stuff from the Maverick, making amends for his somewhat whiffy execution on that wall before, now doing the job diligently and getting that early pick for his team. And a key one it is. Rafters secured, and now Army Alf and Co can begin to push on in. Low-key Benji, though, with an interesting flank there, popping out of that doorway to take down someone inside a stock, and he's getting another engagement here as the player from Bar Lounge engages him, but HJ, or Heizo, I believe, finds one, and a second as Gady just runs straight into him, not quite expecting that push from the Sledge, and that's a massive kill right there for Heizo, a big double on the round, and now he's left Lockdown Ludens with, well, a 2 versus 4, and a frag will eat up KK for dinner from Brinkboss. They are taking a beating from all sides, and now Jobu has it all to do in the 1 versus 4.
Yes, all alone on red stairs. Army Alf making very short work and giving Ophis a 4-2 split on their attack, which can only lead them into the second half as the favorites. On attacking round, they just, on defense, they don't even have to put the pressure on the defenders. They can set up the crossfires. They can dictate where the gunfights happen. When the gunfights happen, if they have a large amount of map control, they can just say, okay, we're going to get a flanker now. We're going to get you coming in. And it's more of a proactive style of play in my eyes than a reactive, which the attacking is. As you see the defender lineup, you see their setup, you go in. The attackers are the ones that say what's going to happen. They have the roamers come down. They can either put pressure on and make the attackers feel very uncomfortable and make them feel scared in a way, which will put a lot of pressure on them, or they can go for those gunfights. And if you get a kill onto, say, Proctor here or Jobu on the bottom floor, that's a huge kill to get, because then the main wall can't be opened, the hatches can't be opened. I feel like Ophis can only be seen as the favorites in the second half.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
I'm absolutely inclined to agree. It's certainly just the way that things go as well, just generally. A defense only racking up 2 rounds is not great for Lockdown Ludens. They didn't lock it down as much as their name would suggest they could.
Please stop.
And, yeah, I will never... Okay, this is the thing you need to know about me. I will never stop with those. So, sorry. You're in for a long, painful ride, and it will only get worse as the night continues. I can promise you that. But yeah, back to the point. They didn't lock it down quite as close as their name would suggest. And, I mean, they've got the opportunity right here, obviously, moving on to the attack. It could be said that, I mean, I was just about to make a point about the defense bans being soft, but come on, Mozzie Kaid, like, they are soft, and really that should be more of a reason for Ophis to be sort of struggling on the attack than they did, and instead they're really standing out tall in this round, in this matchup.
Yes, however, that Mozzie ban and K ban are definitely going to bite them in the backside as they do go to their defense. They need to have that roaming presence, but not such an early gunfight. Not lose these players early on like we saw Ludens when they attempted to push. And we're going to see Proctor putting some pressure on his dirt tunnel. Banshee, though, will be waiting with that SMG shotgun. A very nice choke point, especially with an operator like Smoke with an ADS to be holding. So I expect Proctor, if he's smart about this, to say, I'm going to rotate away. This is somewhere that maybe a late round push to catch them off guard. This isn't where I want to make this, where I want to make my stand. But Proctor, he will win that gunfight, and he will get that dirt control. Yeah, keeping a lot of his utility. He keeps one of his smokes. He keeps 2 of his Selma charges, only using one to get dirt. That is really well executed push. You have to give him credit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of utility immediately removed. That shield effectively gone in the defender's eyes, and now some very valuable gas canisters as well, not utilized. Hey, Heizo is just pushing on up, and he will be punished for it by Benji, who's more than happy to take that free head. He takes a little bit of damage for it, and now he's going to have to face off against the Valkyrie, who takes a bit of damage herself from that main stairs player. And now she's going to have to play more passively as well. But Brinkboss, having this wall open with the Melusi Banshee, can hold this angle for as long as he pleases, and he will have the advantage going into any fight he chooses to take, and he will take it against Benji. We're back at a 4 versus 3 now. With a minute to go, still attackers have that advantage as Proctor will take out Brinkboss, and now the Alder goes. So does the MPX of the Valkyrie, and the final kill looks like it's going to fall Proctor's way as well. Everyone going to the hands of that AK-12 wielding ace, and a wonderful execute right there. A 4K on the round, I believe, for Proctor as well. Not sure about that. Was it? It might have been.
I do believe it was, as we did see Heizo. He pushed down the main stairs. He was able to kill that Melusi. Heizo just didn't expect it when we saw the ashes run down.
Yeah.
And then you see Proctor. He's putting a lot of pressure while the team are distracted. They knew dirt fell, but they expected the smoke to hold longer. They didn't have anyone. They didn't have it barricaded. They didn't have any potential to really slow down that player and new to him, and Proctor took a lot of advantage. The push came out from main stairs towards the kitchen side, but Proctor was just dismantling the team from behind. While they looked one way, he was going in another and just winning his gunfights. It was a really well-played round from him, and bringing them 1 round away from evening up yet again. Ophis will head to the CCTV site, and I want to see something different to what we saw from Ludens, because Ludens, they're going to know how to attack it if that's how they defended it. It's something I found in my experience.
I think we absolutely are going to see something different. Just the operator lineup alone, we're seeing a Maestro, a Mute, and a Maya. I'm not too sure we had all of those on the defensive lineup before Lockdown's defenses at all. Maybe the Maestro came out once or twice, but definitely not the Wamai Jaeger combo, and definitely not that... Oh, wait. No, yeah, the Mute wasn't being brought. So, no, sorry, apologies. There was a Mute in the final round, but before that, there hadn't been. So, yeah, it's slightly different philosophy. Denying those drones, clearly important to them, especially because when you consider, well, the Maestro's Evil Eyes don't just provide intel, they can also be very useful as zapping drones. So, clearly they want to remove the intel that Lockdown Ludens will gather on their attacks. One of those jammers going on that wall, of course, to deny the breach, but the rest are very good at stopping the drone happening.
This round will be starting out now with more of a Jacuzzi side push. You've got KK over there looking to cause some pressure, getting some drone in, get some more map control. It's something we saw Ophis really do well on their attack for CC last time, which is what led to them winning realistically. I'm actually wrong, aren't I? Shockingly enough.
I didn't quite catch it.
Yeah. Essentially, I was talking about how we saw that extended map control being taken in favor of the attackers last time we were on this site, which it was. I just got the teams wrong. We're seeing KK trying to do the same, but Banshee is being taken out very quickly yet again by this Ash. Low-key Banshee able to find that early kill, able to find that Roma, and yet again give that late round a bit more security when they do come to that execute on site.
It's concerning, and while Lockdown Ludens are clearly taking slightly different priorities when it comes to attacking this site, they seem to be sweeping mostly from that west side, and they want to take control of construction before perhaps applying pressure on both sides of the site. And Proctor now, well, he's comfortable in this position. Perhaps we could get a bit of a top-down view just to see if there's any roamers still lurking or anything. No, it does look as though the remaining 4 defenders are all holed up, and Heizo will find that long angle nicely done through the doorway, but Benji takes down Dicta in response, and that's a big position taken control of by the Ash as she's just walking up main, and Heizo gets a double for his trouble, taking out Benji. The Ash just crouched walking up red, almost hits the head of the player outside, but Gades pushed his way on into sight, and now KK has to support him to enable that refrag. The diffuser has been dropped outside though, so this is essentially a TDM right now. Army Alf holding from rafters, and Heizo will spot the player coming in through construction, but with his shots does actually down the Nomad, and that's confirmed by the Wamai, but he falls to Gady. The trades came back and forth, and it was Lockdown Ludens to come out on top. What an incredible round that was. The execute so clean, but wow, I mean, Ophis fought tooth and nail for that one. Just so unfortunate they didn't come out on top there.
I'm gonna change what you said a little bit there. I'm gonna feel like Heizo fought tooth and nail for that one. Most of those kills coming down to him. He was able to find that triple kill at the end, and then in the 2v1 and the 2v2, he got the down onto KK. They didn't confirm it, but Gady was still alive. He got all the kills the defenders had in that round. They lost a lot of map control early on. Banshee being taken away so early without any shots fired, actually. Loki Benji just getting the kills, getting that down, and finishing them off. No C4 potential. No impacted potential, if that's what Banshee brought. No flanking at the end. Because when that execute was coming through, a player coming around from those main stairs would have been critical and round winning. And I think Lockdown Ludens, this is the team we want to see and we should have seen in the first half. But maybe attack's going to fare better for them.
Yeah, I mean, we could be staring down the barrel of a very attack-sided clubhouse, which is a rare thing to see, but I mean, it's not impossible. And right now, Lockdown Ludens, they're perfect on their attacks, 2 for 2. Ophis have sort of lost a bit of that momentum that they had. They've certainly lost the advantage that they might have felt they had coming out of the split, and now they've got to do something. I love that Banshee is playing Malusi. Can we just appreciate that for a moment? Banshee is playing Malusi with the Banshees. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a more perfect operator and player name combo.
Honestly, recently I've been doing a bit of casting, and I did a finals with Centers, the team that because shockingly enough, yes. And we had a player for the team for the win, and he was called Window Player, and we saw him play on the Windows a total of 0 times in a best-of-5 series, which was very sad. But Banshee doesn't disappoint, like you said. However, he will disappoint in this gunfight against Proctor. The opening kill, yet again, it's Banshee, yet again going in favor of the Lockdown Ludens. And just fire. A fire has been lit underneath their backsides. They are starting to get to work. That jacuzzi has been opened. Ace already pushing that master bedroom. Now, a minute gone on the clock. And Ophis not really seeming to have any answer. They're just going to bunker and they're just going to wait. They're going to let Lockdown Ludens run rings around them as they can get that wall open. No bandit tricking going to be possible with no bandit on the board.
Well, certainly not. And certainly as well, Loki Benji doing his job in terms of utility by clearing out underneath and removing that mute jammer, allowing the thermite to come through, and with that exothermic charge going out. Brink Boss takes a little bit of damage from the range spray of KK. He's not fully protected behind that bomb as he just exposed himself a little bit. He's got to take out this drone as well. Otherwise, he's going to meet some death from beneath. And that actually could be a lot of damage dealt there onto Brink Boss. Not lethal yet again. This 3-hour is going to persist, but he finds his way out of that danger zone. And Proctor, in the meantime, is going to take out Dicta, that Jaeger, who was... Well, I'm not too sure where he was. I think he was in sight, and that was a long angle from Bedroom. Brink Boss does actually take someone down despite being on the brink of death, and he now is aware of the Ash. No, he isn't. The Ash is in sight, and he has no idea. KK finds Army Alf, and Loki Benji is so close to the Outer right now. He's going to surely die. No, he doesn't. How is he surviving? How does he get that kill? Brink Boss. Oh, you're on 1 HP, but you've got to land those shots. And, well, the Zofia cleaning up shop as well. The attack going the way of Lockdown Ludens for the 3rd time running.
I called it. I said, Ophis, they're going to take defense. They're going to pick up the rounds, and they haven't picked up a single one. And I think that it's just Proctor stepping up on his attack. That's where he's excelling. He's taking that ace. He's taking the AK-12. He's winning every single early gunfight that he's been given. And immediately, with a couple of minutes left on the clock, at least half the round, you're seeing the Ludens lineup full strength. They are ripping apart the walls, the floor, everything that Ophis hold dear. Brink Boss taking a ton of damage, then being alone, trying to stop people flooding into sight. And honestly, it feels kind of suffocating in Ophis's position. It feels like Ludens, they're just doing what I'm gonna hate to say because I know you want to say it, but they're just locking down the defenders. They are getting the kills. They are putting the proper pressure on, and they're unkillable with their gunfight, apparently.
Everyone succumbs to the punnery sooner or later.
But we need to talk about that Maestro.
That Maestro was just... honestly, Brink Boss did fairly well in that position to get at least 1 kill while he was on 1 HP. He did shut someone out on their entry, but it's just that moment of panic where someone flashes across your screen so much quicker than you thought because they're right in front of you and not coming through the rotate that you're staring at in the distance. So you can understand maybe the panic sets in, but he didn't even land, I don't think, a single shot onto the Ash in that situation, and that's unfortunate for him. But I mean, at that point as well, we have to put it into perspective. It was a 2 versus 4, I believe, for the for the attackers, in favor of the attackers, that is. So maybe putting a little bit too much weight on that sort of fluffed situation. They would already work themselves into a painful situation. And one thing really that stood out is sort of the flow of the round was once again Banshee being caught out on the roam inside of Bar, because he's done that twice now. And this time I think it's wise that he's sitting on site insight and just waiting for the attack to come to him.
Okay. I actually meant the Maestro in this round because in Logistics Office, you've got that Evil Eye up top. But Proctor doesn't care. He's going to find that gunfight yet again onto Heizo getting that third control. Now, you have somebody watching that kitchen hatch, and that is the Maestro. They got the floor below, so he can look down. He can shoot whenever they try and open up that hatch, but they've already got the stock hatch. Benji putting those flashbangs, burning those ADSs. And this Riho seems to have done absolute bits for the Ludens so far. Banshee in a very uncomfortable position, yet to pick up a single kill, but not the first to die this round, so you have to give him some credit there. But I'm almost a minute off of the clock. No refrag has come out from Ophis. They are yet again taking this first loss of the player. Bunker again. Holding. Waiting. GLB, he's going to be trying to open this kitchen hatch, but he knows about the Maestro camera, and Brink Boss is just watching. There's no pressure on there. But the main stats, that's going to be opened up now with the Ash taking it out. KK getting pressure on this main corridor, looking for a kill, looking for a rotate, shutting down the freedom of movement that Ophis just need at this point.
They really have to watch out for Proctor as well, because he was a massive difference maker in this push last time. As Ash goes down on main, a great shot, threading the needle there, Meowth. And they do still need to be wary of that ace pushing through dirt, but wary is enough as Banshee takes his head off. Call me Dicta, finding Gady as well. That's a Zofia pushing blue, and Army Alpha with its second headshot of the round onto KK, and now the zaps will come through. They're just going to harass the hell out of Giobu, who's left in the 1 versus 4. Holding Diffuser, doesn't even really have the opportunity to drop kitchen. It would be too difficult, too risky. He's got to push right down main. He's got all the guns trained in his direction. He's going to sneak round. He's got Banshee in front of him that will immediately give away his position as soon as he decides to push. But the prone angle being held by Army Alf is not good enough. He does get injured and can squirm his way back into sight. 18 seconds left, and that failure to confirm the kill may be crucial. But as we see, Giobu looks like he's just waiting for the loss to come to him. He's not going to be pushing very aggressively. He does try, gets one, almost the planet's align there for him. He will actually secure the second, and with 3 seconds left on the clock, he can't even confirm it. Army Alf with a triple kill on the round there as the Valkyrie, handling that MPX beautifully throughout the round. And that is a first and a crucial defensive victory for Ophis.
Yes, bringing them back onto even rather than letting the Ludens take them to match point. Proctor, I feel like as soon as Proctor fell, then a lot of the momentum that the Ludens had kind of went down. Because you saw Benji and KK, they were on the main stairs. The lines of sight being shut down, like I said, and alluded to. But Giobu, he knew the Maestro was watching the hatch. He knew that there was information constantly coming out and he was exposed. He just had to hold that position as long as possible. He had to try and open it, but at the end of the day, the gunfights were definitely where Ophis were able to step up. They took the fights, they got the kills. There's nothing more really other than that to say than Ludens, they slipped up.
Yeah, and I want to appreciate the fact that I think we've seen pretty much everyone in this lobby contribute in some meaningful way across these rounds. And obviously it's not being reflected fully in the frag count right now because we had those rehosts, but I'm looking at the lower counts right now. Dicta, Banshee, Giobu, and KK all had big moments before that rehost. So everyone is pulling their weight. Everyone's contributing to the frag counts. And there's literally no one that's standing out. I wanted to kind of take a moment to try and highlight someone there. And obviously recency bias would say, oh yeah, Meowth, he just got the 3K. He won that round for his team. But literally everyone's done something incredible this game. And I honestly, it's a very, very rare circumstance that happens. So I just want to appreciate that.
Yeah, that's respectable. I think I can appreciate that. Yeah. But we're seeing Ophis return to this top floor CCTV site. I'd personally say try Gym Bedroom because at this point, you've lost that site 2 rounds in a row. Yeah. You've really struggled to make anything work against Ludens here because they take that gym side control. They win these early gunfights on your roamers, which is why we're seeing Banshee. He is playing that rafters. He's not going on the roam anymore. Dicta's taking up that mantle, probably to play a bit more passive. Because this roam play coming out from Ludens has just been incredibly well coordinated, incredibly well played. And now the drone's coming out looking to get extra control onto that master bedroom side. Banshee just has to hold. Dicta, I want to see that late roam come out, and I want to see it get some kills. I want to see the defense start to get an advantage off of Ludens not checking all their corners.
It's been a slow start. We have only seen a minute in, but again, 5 aside. Still full control of rafters for the defenders, and it looks like they have read into the fact now that no pressure is going to come their way. They're going to spread their pieces slightly differently before the pressure comes through, and Giobu is going to ensure that that pressure happens by opening up that breach. Now the rotate, obviously, between sites is a lot tougher, and Dicta will be the one to strike first, taking down Gady on that Zofia early on without much of that utility spent. That's a big pick for Ludens, or for Ophis right here against the Ludens.
Yeah, so you can hear the Maestro. It will be putting out some damage on the Proctor, but it will be taken out. He will try and get that Ace Selma charge, but the Mute Jammer will be denying it. No frag grenades there to help out at all. They can't get that Mute Jammer. And the smoke canister. It's going to come out indicative of that push. But Ophis have too many players around. Giobu, he can play that main breach. He can put some pressure on, but it's not really going to help as much as going and taking those gunfights. And I feel like KK, he is about to get a really nice shot onto Banshee and give his team something they need before the push does come out, because I was clearly mistaken. It didn't come out just yet.
Benji has a job to do right here, which is, well, deliver an Ash charge right below Brink Boss, whether he knows it or not. He's sitting in a quite dangerous position because that mute charge has to be removed. The ping comes through. Once again, Maestro will be hurt a lot by the Ash charges, though less so than last time. So now, well, with his utility job done, Benji can just start pushing up red, but he's immediately stopped by Heizo, who's at the top. Army Alpha taken down by Proctor on the ace, and we're back at a 3 versus 3. With 20 seconds left, the timer definitely favoring the defenders, but they are looking a little bit worse aware in the HP department. The jump in comes through from KK. He has to make a play right here. Proctor finding one, but Brinkboss shutting him down immediately. Jobu can try and go for the plant, but he's immediately aware of the presence inside of Rafters. He goes for a close plant on the reinforcement, and the cover has to be perfect from KK. He gets one, but the defuse plant is denied. An incredible down there, right there, coming through from the Jaeger. So patient and almost perfectly played by the Thermite, but Ludens drop yet another round on their attack.
I feel like it was just Ludens saying, okay, we need to get this plant down. We know this one red, we know this one rafters. We need to plant safe for rafters because they're going to have to push through the rotate. Really well played by Dicta, but I think there's a few issues, and that's what we're seeing is unlike that bottom floor win we saw come out from Ophis, that wasn't a 4v1. That was a 2v2, which was won by Dicta going for that slow peek onto Giobu, who couldn't come off. And now we're finally seeing Gym Bedroom for the first time in this map, and I want to see it so bad because, like I said, the last round, it was too close. Hopefully we can see Ophis get some more kills on the ball. Slow down the attackers a bit more when it does come down to these very close rounds and the late round pushes. But on the other side, Ludens, they're winning these gunfights. Proctor is still picking up these kills, but the rest of the team, they're seemingly a little bit lost when he does go down. So I think for them, keeping Proctor alive, that's the key job.
The interesting thing here is that we're finally going to Gym after an entire map of not seeing it, and we don't know how these guys like to attack it. We don't know how these guys like to defend it. This could literally be anyone's game. We could be going right into 6-6 overtime right now, or Ophis could seal out their defense win with a nice little tertiary side swipe. And, I mean, it is their least favored site, so you expect it to be not quite as well drilled. But that being said, Lockdown Ludens do obviously have the pain of having to attack it. You know, it's something that they also potentially not as proficient at knowing how to approach. And this sort of spread push right here is honestly a little bit concerning from Lockdown Ludens. They're leaving a few people exposed to potential runouts here. Dicta is now at least locked into position inside of Cash, so he won't be able to go for the peak. In fact, well, he's certainly wanting to take out these drones and then go for the window knock to take out Proctor, but I think he's being pinned in place now. So a little bit more protection. KK sending out an air jab as well to lock down those flanks a bit more as they can begin to pressure into Cash.
Yeah. Air jab's already going out, looking to shut down any of that flanking or aggressive pushes coming out from the defenders. I think that's what Ludens need to do, is they need to just box in Ophis. They need to just isolate these defenders, which is something that's happening to Dicta very, very quickly. He is starting to take some damage, but the only way he is making it out of this cash room alive is by gunning it out. And as the flashbang comes in, it doesn't look great. He is being swarmed by the players. He needs to get one or two. Brinkboss coming in support and construction, but I don't think Brinkboss wants to go in. Oh, Proctor, sorry. Where one will go in. Brinkboss will find that kill onto Gady, and that's the refrag, but Benji's able to find one more. KK getting a kill off his owners. So he's going towards that Logi area. He's going to contest the Nomad. He's going to push. He's going to get the kill onto KK before the air jab can actually deploy. It's very well played, very aggressive though, and exposes site as Loki. Benji gets bombing out. The plan is now going down, the air jab popping off, and Benji looking to secure the kill. Just can't do it, will take some damage as the C4 goes out to make a rotate onto side, but the pre-fire through the wall from Proctor will take Ludens through overtime.
Wonderful and swift execute right there from Ludens. So high octane, they just did not stop pushing. As soon as they got cash control, suddenly it was bam, Nomad drops Office, gets a kill, bam, we push through construction, we get a kill, bam. Benji got so many massive frags in that round. I think it was only two, but they were huge impact. The refrag, especially onto Malusi, was essential. And then clearing out site to allow Giobu to go for that plant, massive. Proctor, nice little spray through the wall, very heads up play to secure the round at the end. And look at that incredible sort of back and forth game we've had so far. That final round missing, of course, going to the blue side. And we've got just, a real exciting overtime on our hands, because it's been fairly attacker favored, but it just hasn't been consistent enough to call it. This could really go either way.
Yeah, and I mean, these are the games that you really do love to see. The ones that just go back and forth.
Yeah.
And you think you could call it 1 second, but then the other team comes in with a huge upset. Like you saw Ophis, very dominant on their start. After they started picking up a couple of rounds, the Ludens then had a few answers on their attack, and I feel like, personally, you've got to kind of favor the attackers on this one. You've got to favor Ludens taking this early round, because they have only failed to win this site on attack 1 time. Ophis, they've had to pull some special plays out and really had to see me out step up when they wanted to win it. I feel like they should ignore that dirt hold, which is what we are seeing. We're seeing Heizo saying, right, all right, I'm pulling back, I'm waiting, this isn't it. I don't want to hold this position, so I'm going to pull away.
Oh, it appears to be a little bit of a problem potentially in the lobby setup, in that it's an overtime match point. So we might have to do a rehost after this round. But low-key Benji taking out Army Alf. Early pick on the Roma. Massive one there for Lockdown Ludens as they look to sort of steamroll their opponents. They're just riding this wave of momentum that they have on the attack. Benji and Proctor have been doing so well in particular, and Benji will double down on his round so far by getting almost a 2k. This is sure to be confirmed any second now. He exposes himself slightly to the angle being held from inside, and now he's going to take the fight again onto the plays inside of Church, but finally secures that kill.
Yeah, some very aggressive plays coming out from Ludens. One that we've really... It's just been so textbook from them. They've had those plays in. They've had the drones. They've had the refrags available. But Gady, he's going to be going to make sure there is none. But Heizo, he gets 1. He gets 2 with the shotgun going into blue. That is Benji. That is Gady. Gone. Brick Boss is able to find 2 of his own. Now it's a 2v2 with 1:36 on the clock. Now we're hearing some of the hatches get open. An air jab will go off from Brick Boss, giving away his position. But Proctor, realistically, having him on the board, that's a huge player to still have alive. Heizo will get spotted from that hatch. Will not want to contest it, but exposes himself a little bit. But Proctor, none the wiser, will just not go for it. He'll say, okay, I'll wait. We have time. We have a lot of time, and that favors the Ludens at the moment. They can rotate. They can position themselves for a round win here. I think they can get it.
They can drone as well. Jobu's still got 2 active, and that's going to be really pivotal as he finds out where that Maestro is playing and feeds that intel to Proctor, who's on 11 kills so far since the rehost. He's been incredible, and now it's up to Heizo to try and pull this one back. He's been such a massive player for Ophis. He's already basically collected a 3k on the round, but he's not going to get any more as Proctor gets kill number 12, and the attackers take that round. This is looking like a spicy overtime.
I don't think that was the play, but that seems to be overtime done.
Yeah, that is not. So don't be fooled. We will be fixing this. Unfortunately, just the lobby settings a little bit amiss. Basically, we are doing a full overtime of basically a best of 3 overtime as per usual. So we will get another 2 rounds. Don't you worry. So that is an attacker's success, which is, it goes with the grain of play so far. We've been seeing lots of attacker successes, especially for Lockdown Ludens having that momentum. Makes a lot of sense that they were able to see that through. But it wasn't easy. Oh my god. Heizo did immensely well to swing round and take out as many players going for that blue dirt push as possible. It seemed as though there was a kind of a dual focus going on that attack between for Ludens. They had their kind of dirt blue squadron that managed to push in very quickly. Benji picking up a nice 2-piece to enable that to happen.
Yeah.
And it wasn't quite as well coordinated with the hard breaching duo pressuring from above. They didn't have that kind of synchronization on board. In the end, it didn't really matter, but it made it a bit tougher than it needed to be. If they'd managed to open up kitchen hatch, if they'd managed to have someone pushing down main at that sort of same time, maybe they catch a couple of kills in the chaos during the rotates that the defenders have to make. Instead, the players pushing blue and dirt just saw their advantage and went for it, which is fair, but that aggression needed to be coordinated with the other 2 players, I think, a little bit better, just to make their lives easier.
And speaking of those 2 players, I think the late round I call it late round, but it wasn't at all. We did say there was so much potential for it to go wrong. There was a 2v2, but thanks to the time, the attackers, like you said, they could drone, they could hold the angles a little bit longer, catch the defenders who were kind of expecting this push, expecting to hate these gunfights. And you just see Proctor in the hatch, he's still got a minute left. He's just shooting down through the rotate, picking off Bink Boss, someone who has just been steady with Heizo, getting these kills with that Maestro. Then I think Heizo, as soon as it comes down to the 1v2, you have to play time. Pushing into blue, yeah, okay, that's not a bad position because you know Long's going to be covered. You know Moto's going to be covered realistically when they do go for that main stairs and get that church wall open. But I don't think pushing into church was the play. You had to reinforce. You didn't have much in the way of utility, but you had potential to just wait it out. Maybe when the plants go down, bring it down to a 1v1 and just drain time as best you can. There wasn't much. I can't really say there's much more than the positioning was a bit off because you were prepared for that blue push. You were prepared for the kitchen drop. And I think the biggest thing you could do was the best thing you could do was either hold that blue or even try and go for a rotate because you had the time. That's a key thing. You expect to be in that position. Your mind is thinking, I don't have much left. There's like 30 seconds on the clock. They've got to be going for a plant. When no, they're going to be holding the angles.
Most likely, yeah. And it's also one of those strange instances, the sort of church plants, where sometimes going for a retake post plant is easier in a weird way, or like mid plant, like you said, try and take that opportunity when you know it's an effective 1v1 while someone's in that plant animation to worm your way around, wait for a little bit more intel on your end, because there will be intel on your end. You saw that the Ashe, the Zofia got killed very early on. They don't potentially have the you might have Evil Eye still up. Obviously your team's going to be relaying this, and we didn't quite get to see whether that was the case or not, but you can assume there's probably a church Evil Eye still intact in that situation. And that, playing the retake slow and sensible with that SMG, anything can happen. It's a wonderful weapon, and the amount of smoke retakes we've seen, he's basically the clutch operator of Siege at this point. So yeah, a little bit of fixing to do. You can never criticize a man for losing a 1 versus 2 realistically. And of course, we said that Lockdown Ludens had a fair amount of improvements to make on their kind of execute there as well. We're being really, really sort of picky, like saying despite they won, despite the fact that they won, or despite the fact that they were in a disadvantageous position, they could be doing better. And learning from your mistakes is good, but also learning from your victories is important too.
Yeah, I think one thing I do want to champion, because like you said, we've been very picky and very nitpicky. Actually, what I wanted to champion is Benji and Gabi. They have just been so unflinching when it comes to these aggressive picks, going to get the advantages for their team, these early gunfights, like we saw in blue. They were very, very quick to push, very quick to flush out that Jaeger, get the kill, get a couple of kills onto the rotating plays from Church. I really like seeing that, and then, like you say, they need to have that little bit of coordination with the other team to the Heartbreach. If they could drop or push that main stairs while the Ashe and Zofia, they're making these plays, they're getting these kills, that could have been a much shorter round. Because you're seeing Brink Boss and Heizo. Heizo walked through the corridor. He walked through the corridor, got a shotgun kill onto the Zofia, then walked to blue. Crouch walked to blue with a shotgun to kill Ashe. I feel like if you just get them to play that little bit more aggressive when you're going for aggressive on that blue side, you're going for the kills and the map control. That's what they needed. And they could have shut down the round much quicker and padded out their KDs a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're here to do, right? They want to pad out their KD. Yeah, obviously they're going for the win right here. But this is just an incredible match. I like to see the variety and kind of styles of matches that we're getting. Obviously, you go into this new league, you've got these new teams, they're just assembled, they're kind of figuring things out, and you expect the odd 7-1 or 7-2 washout that happens from time to time. But I'm amazed that it's only taken 2 games for us to stumble upon this incredibly close matchup where we're already in overtime. We're already looking at like 2 teams that are so evenly matched that at this point, barely anything separates them. And really, you could argue it's just the attacker-sidedness that so far is giving Lockdown Ludens the edge in the overtime. Proctor and Benji so far have just been my highlight players on their side, but like you say, that everyone really has been pulling their weight, and it seems as though, just to highlight those two players specifically, Benji's especially great on the entry, while Proctor's racking up all of these kills when it comes down to the execute, and when it comes down to these very close clutch situations. He's always there to drive the dagger through the heart to collect the round win, it seems.
And while we do wait for the players to get into the lobby, just so we can finish off this overtime, I feel like it'd be amiss to mention that this isn't the only time today that we're going to see more players. These players, we're going to see after this round 3, we're going to see Triton, I do believe, going up against the first team of a fucking zoo, which we've already seen take that win on Kaf Dostoyevsky. And then the winner of this matchup, whoever wins this overtime, will be playing in round 4. And Jerry, next week as well, you're still going to be here. I don't think I will, but I figured we might as well talk about it a little bit now because we have some time, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
You're going to be here, aren't you?
Yeah, it looks that way, certainly. And yeah, I'll be joined by someone else, so that'll be exciting. But I think that that sounded really mean, didn't it? Oh my god!
Are we not allowed to? Are we not allowed to announce it yet?
You do excite me. Don't worry, McCready. I don't know whether we're allowed to announce it. I just don't want to overstep it in case we're not. But yeah, maybe we are. Maybe we aren't. I'll find out of it. Yeah, so no confirmation yet, so we'll keep it on the download. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of small pool of casters rotates, and it's going to be nice to kind of gel with other people. But like you said, these are the stakes right now. This is for a spot in the upper bracket, basically. These teams want to keep their sort of their first life, as it were, intact in these brackets and just progress as far as possible safely. SEAL Team Santa are the ones that will be awaiting the victor of this one, which I think you mentioned. And yeah, we don't really know too much about them, but they will no doubt be watching this matchup right now and then trying to gather a little bit of intel, perhaps on the way that Lockdown, Ludens, or Ophis play, whoever may make it, because it's still up in the air. And rightly so, because that should be hotly contested. They're going to be fighting for that spot eventually to get to the grand final in this first round of the double elimination.
Yeah, so it's all to play for realistically. First round, you can make your statement of intent. You can say, we are here and we are here to win. And going in, if you do win like you expect to, and certainly I hope you want to, then you get to keep that get out of jail free card. And you want to keep that as long as possible, because as long as you have that card, it's not as much pressure. Because you can go and you can knock out these teams, and you know that no matter what happens, you're still going to be playing next week. You're still going to have the opportunity to strut your stuff, show us how well you can play. And Jerry, I'm really excited. You can tell how much both teams want this badly. And it's so much closer than the first game we saw between Ophis Zoo and, I believe, I'm just going to have to double check. It was Czechsland, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't make the biggest impression, to be fair. So I'll forgive you for that one. But yeah, they dropped to the losers bracket. So the next time they play will be next week. So they have plenty of time to kind of shore up any problems, which is a good way of doing it. I think, the players and the teams that are doing quite well and have kind of gelled together get the opportunity to keep going, riding that momentum. Whereas if you lose, you don't lose all your lives, as it were, in one day. You get to take it to next week and just sort of try and work things out from there. But yeah, I think that I mean, this tension is just killing me right now. I mean, we're so close to the very end. We could be 1 or 2 rounds away, and I really want to see who's going to get the better of each other here while we get the lobby set up. It's not going to take too long, hopefully, but yeah, we've just bear with us while we try and get this over and done with. I cannot wait to just finally get this map done. It's eating away at me on the inside.
I've got to agree. It's we've seen that the attack has been the reason that teams have won. No, not the reason. It's been the constant factor. My words, they are leaving me right now because I'm just thinking about the amount of times the defenders have just been shut down by attackers. So for this next round, one has to favor Ophis, but by the gods of RNG, Ludens, if the attack is to be favored on their spearhead of the attack. If they can have that on this possible last round, that can be huge. Ophis, though, they're fighting to keep that life, like you said. They're trying to keep in it. If they lose this, if they win this round, they get to defend again, which doesn't favor them very well based on the track record of this game. If they lose this, obviously, then they lose that extra life. They go straight into the losers bracket, and the mental break, the mental fortitude that you have to get that lower bracket run, it is huge. And there's a reason that it is such a loved storyline. It's because it's a rare storyline for that very reason.
Yep, and I think that just to try and make a prediction about this this site that we're likely to see next, because we're finally going back to Lockdown Ludens having their defense. Okay, so they only got to defend Cash and Church. This could be a horrible idea, but maybe they go to Jim. Maybe they just throw that wild card in there because they played Church twice, won it once, lost it once. They played Cash 4 times, lost it 3 times. So I doubt we're going to see them go to Cash, even though that seems to be their preferred site. Maybe they feel more confident on Church today than they usually do, or just less confident on Cash today than they usually do. Maybe they stick to their guns. Maybe they just go with what they practice, go to Cash, or it could be that wild card. There's a good reason behind any possible site, and in a way that helps them out because it means Ophis are kind of playing this game of, well, what are they going to defend? You know, they could do anything. We don't have any reason to believe that they'll go anywhere in particular. So, yeah, it's going to be difficult for Ophis coming into this, I think, just by virtue of how weirdly that first half played out for Lockdown Ludens. But my bet is that they'll want to go to Church. I think that seems the most sensible, especially seeing as they during the first half, they wouldn't touch Jim no matter what. So I think they're unlikely to bring it out in an OT.
Yeah, and when you think about the time they were forced to pick Jim because the other opportunity was Barstock, and yeah, we don't even talk about that. It's just fallen out completely of the meta. It's nowhere to be seen. It's gone for a swim on an ocean on a holiday. When you think about when they did have to go to that gym bedroom, when they had to go, realistically with gym bedroom, it's you set up a tiered defense, a layered defense from that cache where you have your roamers, and then they pull back bit by bit when they're forced out from cache to construction, from construction to master, and then hopefully your anchors, your support players, they have kept that jacuzzi wall shut and kept that main stairs on lockdown. That's how ideally you'd want to be defending the site. Unfortunately, Ludens, they got a kill on each time. Yes, they got a refrag, but it felt like dominoes when we saw Ophis defend it last time. And when it comes to that cache CCTV, they were yet again, they were struggling. They were being boxed in. They felt like sardines. And finally, we're going back into the game. To overtime, Ophis, they have their attack. Ludens, they were going on defense. It wasn't their greatest performance, but I still think they could pick it up. They are firing on all cylinders now.
Yep, and I'm so excited to see this overtime match point for realsies this time, 7-6. I feel like I've just left the dentist because we are done filling, and we have Church Arsenal is the site. So a correct guess from me. It seems like they're going down to that basement. I'm pretty proud of that. I'm still mad at the fact that they banned Mozzie because I was doing well in my ban predictions at the start, but I will forgive them for that. And we can expect to see, well, an explosive finish because Church defenses are always fun to watch, I find.
Well,
also than the rest of the sites. I don't know. I just feel like everything cool happens down here.
Yeah,
that might just be me.
It's been a long road. It's been a long journey, but
it has.
We've reached match point for the second time. in this game so far after our second rehost, Jerry.
Our secondary host
Our
of the map.
second rehost of the map.
It's
And
good.
that's 3 rehosts in total so far. You know,
We got this.
you
Though.
really love to see it. You do. We've got it. We're reaching the end of the tunnel.
It's
for
just
this
teething
map.
issues. You know, it's teething issues.
Yeah, well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We're seeing what I want to see from Ludens here, because when I think about their bottom floor defense, their roamers fell down very quickly. Proctor, Gady, they got taken out very early on by Ophis. I've talked about it before, but I want them to wait a little bit. I want them to just waste some time. Don't go for the gunfights. Waste them. Force them to go on a wild goose chase, because that's where you're going to get the kills. That's where you're going to get the late round advantages of time and utility, is by forcing them to just do everything they can to get rid of you.
So these drones coming out. Ophis being very meticulous here. They will need to find Benji, who's playing inside of storage, and Proctor, of course, on the top floor, who's that heavy roamer right now. Benji, obviously, in a position to fall back very quickly, but it's a much longer journey for Proctor, who's been such a massive influence on the attacks. Can he replicate that on the defense? Already a minute elapsed, and I don't know if they have the lock on this Malusi top floor. It seems like they're just kind of holding main, trying to lock off the rotates downstairs, but I don't know if they're aware of it. Look at this. Someone's walking almost straight into the crosshairs of Proctor, but manages to evade it. Again, player crouch walking through bar may give themselves away. Proctor's definitely hearing this, and he's just being super patient as KK will get the first kill of the round onto Army Alf. That's the diffuser dropped inside of kitchen, and the vertical play working out for the Legion.
Still with those impacts on the board, as Proctor's able to find a kill of his own onto Dicta, and that's what I wanted to see from the Roamers. They took their time, they didn't go for the early gunfights, they waited, and now they've lost Sophia as well, so that's a lot of utility denial that's a lot of utility that's taken away. C4, though, isn't able to take away Heizo. Does a little bit of damage, but not enough at all. Now the hatch is open. They can drop in, but the guns are looking. Heizo spots one player, he spots a Valkyrie, but he just can't get the shot. He will finally engage, he will fall, as the frag grenade is getting cooked. It's going to follow, but goes the wrong way. Proctor, though, will fall to Brink Boss using that vertical play yet again, and this is where Ophis are really going to win the round, if that is what's going to happen. They need to use this vertical play, and now they've got control of the kitchen side. Banshee, you position yourself as an anchor. You watch the rotates. You watch anyone coming from church. You kill them. The rest of the team drop and plant, but Benji, he's already rotated into this back armory position. He can already call this drop, call this plan. This is where Ophis is starting to stall. They need to speed up.
Heizo looks like he's sneaking his way through dirt, and that could be key. He is. He takes down Benji, and that's a massive pick onto a key anchor, but the Goo Mine will slow him in his tracks. So Brink Boss and Banshee have a lot on their plates now, as this Evil Eye could prove absolutely pivotal with the planter on low health. KK takes out Banshee, the push coming through via Church, and Giobu takes out Heizo. Brink Boss has to stick the plant, but at 000, there's no chance that he escapes this alive. The impact comes through, and the shots from KK lock down Ludens, lock it out on their defense in overtime. 8-6, and a fantastic win propels them forward in the upper bracket.
Yes, a second rehost for one round, but a very important round as Lockdown Ludens finally broke the curse of the attacker-sided club and took their defensive win on overtime. They struggled on their defense to get started, but on their attack, that's when they really stepped up. And it's just kept going. This is exactly what's happened again. They've started waking up, and I almost forgot about it, Jerry, but we're going to get an interview set up. It's been so long since the last one, hasn't it?
I know, it has been a while, but it's a beautiful thing to be able to talk to these players after a victory and understand what was going through their minds, especially in a match like that one. My God, there's so many moments that you can poke at, so many incredible turning points that just to dissect and understand what they might have been thinking in these moments. We are going to get confirmation soon on exactly who it is that we will be interviewing. But yeah, overall that match was just super close. So the opposite of one-sided. And Lockdown Ludens, I mean, they showed that they had real prowess on attack, and that was, I think, the difference maker for me. It was an attacker-sided game. We ended up overtime, so both teams did play well on attack, it has to be said, but I feel like Lockdown Ludens really had it when they were going for most of those attacks. They were so precise, so clinical, and they just stormed it in the end.
I have to be 100%. Like when I said that this is the attack that you need to have. This is how you need to position yourselves. That wasn't great. Like we saw, they stalled out completely. That's all I can say. They stalled out. They really just let Ludens reposition. They let the Jaeger get there. It took Heizo to get that kill. Yes, he was able to, but as we saw, the Leisure Mine, too much damage had been done. It just came down to Ludens on their attack. They didn't stall. Ophis did, unfortunately. And we will have that interview coming through now, Jerry.
Yes, so hello. Who is this I'm talking to? KK. Nice to see you, KK. Oh, and are you still here?
He's here now. Hello.
Hello, KK.
Hey.
Hey there. First of all, congratulations on your victory. How does it feel to win your first ever Badass University All-Stars match?
It feels pretty good, to be honest.
Nice.
Honestly, didn't expect it.
All right, okay. Any reason why you might not have expected that? Was it a team thing? Was it a personal thing, or?
More a personal thing, but also this is like only our third time playing together, and we've never played with Proctor before until today.
Oh, well, I mean, Proctor really showed up, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he had a fantastic game. Benji as well, and yourself. We were remarking during the game how it seemed to be a real team effort, that everyone was pulling their weight. Is there any particular moment, though, during that game where you thought, where the team kind of really came alive? Was there like a clutch that just sort of spurred you on, or what might it have been, just sort of looking back on it? Or was it just a consistent thread throughout?
I mean, I think it kind of turned around once it got to the side switch. Once we got to the side switch, we really picked up momentum and started just getting the rounds down.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way on paper as well. Like you stormed 3 in a row as soon as you went on to attack, and it was really dominant stuff. There was I'm trying to kind of pick out a kind of a particular hold or attack that you had that I'm really intrigued by. Was there any? Oh, that's a question. Okay, was there any thought process behind the Mozzie ban? Because I was very mad. I had a bet going on stream here with McCready that we would have Thatcher, Monty, Kaid, and Mirror, and then the Mozzie was the last ban, and I was so mad because I was 3 for 3 up until that point. So what
I
gives?
mean, none of us really play Mozzie. Like I've played Mozzie a few times, but never really successfully. And I honestly don't know. I wasn't in charge of the bans. I just went with what they were saying.
All right, fair enough. Well, I mean, I don't know how heavily it weighed on the game overall. So clearly, just a kind of you don't play it. Maybe one of them plays it, and you want to unseat them a little bit. But interesting choice of ban there. McCready, maybe you have a question for KK.
Yes, it's most importantly, I think everyone has noticed and everyone has complained about the amount of rehosts we've had to have so far.
Yeah.
What is it keeping the momentum through it? Because the first one, you lost the next round, but then you picked up 3 consistent rounds on attack, and then one before overtime match point, where you're going in on defense, having to win it on what has been arguably, indisputably actually, a very attacker-sided map.
Yeah. I think mainly it was just keeping good vibes up in the chat. Like we were really vibing in the voice call, like between the rehosts, and then we were just looking into the Twitch chat and having fun with the copy pastas.
You got to get on the copy pastas.
We noticed them as well. It's been a source of joy for us as well, hasn't it, Jerry?
Yeah. Yeah, some of them are great. Just keep them going, honestly. They're endlessly entertaining and the highest form of humor, if you ask me.
Yeah, but that's all the questions for me. I don't think there's anything else unless you've got more, Jerry, other than to congratulate yourself, KK, and wish you luck moving forward, as we will be seeing you in round 4 later today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank you very much for joining us. That was a very insightful KK. So yeah, good luck on your next round.
Thank you.
Yeah, now get out. Get rid of him. Get him out of here, Jerry, because I want to talk to you a little bit.
Oh,
and I want to talk about what's going to be coming up later tonight in the next couple of games, game 3 and game 4, because now we know exactly who's going to be playing, don't we?
We absolutely do. So the next match coming up will be Team Triton, who've been sitting there patiently awaiting the Fukins. Seal Team Santa and Lockdown Ludens, who we just saw win that match. And of course, those two other teams that have lost so far, it's not the end of the road for them. Both Ophis and Chexel dropping to the losers bracket. They will play again to stay alive in that bracket next Monday. So do keep a good eye on our socials and give the channel a follow to make sure you do not miss those. But we'll be throwing to a fairly short break just to make sure that we can get the lobby set up for our next match. Do not go away.